What's up, everybody? Welcome into NBA DFS Live for Wednesday, January 13th. I'm your host, Ben Hostler, joined by Justin Bales. Bales, we just had an insane 10 minutes before we started up this stream. Not only did James Harden get traded to the Brooklyn Nets, the Cavs somehow got involved in this deal. The Pacers got involved in this deal. I don't know. This has been a crazy 10 to 15 minutes, and it also has implications on this slate because the Brooklyn Nets are on the slate, and we know that Jared Allen and Karis LeVert are now being traded. LeVert, I don't know. We got to wrap our heads around this. This is going to be a weirder stream because all this is going on. But the Rockets have essentially traded James Harden for Victor Oladipo and a bunch of picks.
That are going to be late because they're Brooklyn's Milwaukee's.
Whatever. The Pacers come in and just fleece this deal, getting LeVert for Oladipo, in my opinion. Love Karis LeVert. Always been a big fan of his. And then the Cavs drop in and get Jared Allen for free because they gave up a 2022 first from Milwaukee, which probably has little value, I would assume. But I also don't know why they need another center. And I really like Jared Allen. So, I like it from the Cavs' perspective to get Jared Allen. But, I mean, they have Andre Drummond. They have Kevin Love. This is just so weird. And I can't believe they traded LeVert. Very, very interesting. But this has big implications. So, I have projections up. These projections are obviously not going to be reflective of what just happened. So this is a night to get into Discord. I mean, we're gonna have value. We already have a ton of value in general on the slate. We had Isaiah Roby, who I wrote up in building blocks, James Johnson, a lot of these Pelicans guys. But now we're gonna have extreme value on the Nets as well, potentially Chiozza, Bruce Brown, guys like that with LeVert out. And then, I mean, I would assume we're gonna see DeAndre Jordan. We're gonna see some Jeff Green popping as well with Jared Allen out. So this is going to be an interesting slate. But I kind of like these slates when there's too much value because it's just going to have people make mistakes. So we'll really have to hone in on what we think is the good value. So what is your take on this slate now that we get all this crazy news?
I'm not doing this sounds weird, but I'm not doing much tonight. So I love this type of slate. If I don't have plans, I want the slate to get as crazy and as weird as possible because me, you, James, Sriracha, Joey we're just going to sit in Discord and figure it out literally all night and make the pivots that we have to. Whereas a lot of people I know a bunch make their lineups at 2 p.m. and not really for NBA, but some do. And they just don't change them. And I feel like on the nights where you're not really doing anything after lock, if you have the time to just sit there and figure everything out, you have such an edge over everyone else that it's probably going to be it feels like it's going to be an easy cash night for us.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've late swapped a lot. I've late swapped my cash lineup a lot this season, way more than years past. I've used it a lot. Probably
every night.
Pretty much every slate except for 3 or 4, I would say. So if you have a Core Plays membership or if you're in Discord, I would just be sure, I'm letting you guys know now, even if you don't have Core Plays, tonight is a night that you're probably going to want to use late swap because I'm guaranteeing we're going to get someone out after lock. So this is going to be a night to pay attention. You don't have to sit around, especially if you have a package to our website. You don't have to sit around and figure it out on your own. We do it for you. But just set an alarm 10 minutes or so before some of these later games so that you can remember to just hop in Discord and just check what's going on if you need to update anything, because Anthony Davis is questionable, Nurkic is questionable, and Eric Bledsoe is questionable. So those are some bigger ones that could really affect the slate if one of those guys is out. Definitely would require some pivots. So we will go ahead and jump in here starting at point guard. I wrote up De'Aaron Fox at point guard. And then we're probably going to have some value here now as well. So I'm curious your thoughts. I think Fox is a really good play. I think Eric Bledsoe, if he's in, is a good play. I don't have any problems with spending up on someone like Dame or even Luka, but just those aren't going to be priorities for me in cash. And I liked Karis LeVert a lot, but now he's not going to be on the slate. So I think De'Aaron Fox and like Bledsoe, if he's in, are probably the two guys I really like. Fox, like, hasn't been someone I've played a lot this year, but he's still leading the team in usage. His price is so far down, man. 74 on DraftKings is super nice. It's the best game of the night, 235 over under, 3.5 point spread. So I really like Fox at his price. He'll be really chalk on FanDuel, but DraftKings, I'm hoping maybe with the value and some of the people above him, maybe he goes a little bit overlooked.
Yeah, I think Fox, if I'm picking just one guy that I would play tonight, it would be Fox. I'm 100% fine with Luka at 10-8. It's not really any crazy price. And I know that Porzingis is back. I don't think that helps him. But Porzingis is only going to play like, 20 minutes maybe? So I guess actually Porzingis probably with their roster right now isn't going to hurt him either. So I do think that Luke is 100% fine, especially with all the value. Two other options that I'm good with right around De'Aaron Fox, and I feel like Fox is going to be higher on than both of them, are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 77 and LaMelo Ball at 72. Ball gets the good matchup. His minutes aren't certain, which is actually kind of weird. I would assume at this point he should be playing 30 plus literally every single night, especially after that just ridiculous triple-double. But I do think that he's going to go a little overlooked because I think that most honestly just play Fox, and I do think that they should because Portland really struggles against the point guard. And then, I mean, Eric Bledsoe I agree with. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is really good value at only 3,100. Kira Lewis, I believe you said he's starting at this point. I feel like he's going to be much better if Bledsoe's out, so you guarantee the minutes, but I don't really have any issues whatsoever with him. And then, I don't know. I don't want to go guys like Devontae Graham. I came in today thinking he was a really good play. He's going to get the minutes. He's only 6,200. But at this point, so much value's opened up that I just don't think it makes that much sense to play him unless you're running multiple lineups in like large field GPPs.
Yeah, I like your calls on SGA and LaMelo in tournaments. I think they're both really good tournament plays today. I don't know what the Pelicans are going to do. Like, this is super weird situation because Kyra Lewis was running with the starters at practice yesterday, so it looks like he's going to start. I think, like, prior to the Zion news, I don't think most people were realizing that he was, like, in line to start. And I still don't know if they think that. I don't know if Zion being out changes anything, but I do think as of now, like, he's going to start because he was practicing with the starting unit at practice yesterday. But I don't necessarily, like you said, if Bledsoe's out, I think you could play him. If Bledsoe's in, Alexander Walker is definitely the cheap guy, I think. Really good numbers. It's a really small sample size, but really good numbers with Lonzo and Zion off the floor. Like, team high 1.6 fantasy points per minute and had the highest usage rate as well. Obviously, really small sample, but I think he's one of the better value plays. And I think Dennis Schroeder, I think is interesting for tournaments as well, especially if one of the Lakers guys rested. That's someone you could swap onto, and you get the revenge narrative as well.
Yep.
But yeah, as far as like any Nets value, just check Discord and like final thoughts. I'll update. Like, this happened literally as the stream was starting, so I'll have to dig in after the stream and figure out what I want to do. We can move on to shooting guard. I know you like CJ McCollum a lot tonight, so I'll let you start off at shooting guard. You can talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Sacramento is just really, really, really bad against shooting guards, and CJ McCollum has, oddly enough, basically taken over a lot of the offense from Lillard. He's leading the team in shot attempts per game. He's taking 11 threes per game. And I forget what the exact number is, but he scored like 45 or more fantasy points in very limited minutes against Sacramento in their first game. He really just dominated them, and I would be surprised if he didn't do it again tonight. The only issue, obviously, he's 8,600, so there's literally no value in his price, I guess. It's just not low whatsoever for CJ McCollum. He easily has the upside to break it, so I really do like him. I feel like he's more or less going to go overlooked. He's not one of the high-priced guys. He feels a lot like Julius Randle, where they're just dominating, but they're so expensive at this point that they just kind of never feature a ton of ownership. Like they're going to get a little bit because they're big name players, but they're not going to be the 30 to 40% owned guys that you find on some slates.
Yeah, I agree. I think McCollum's a really good tournament play, but shooting guard is just so disgusting today. There's just really nothing. So I think Alexander Walker is probably where you're gonna go in cash on DraftKings. He's 3,100. I don't mind getting up to D'Angelo Russell or McCollum in GPPs, but cash I think you want to save here. In the mid tier, you can use Schroeder there, who we talked about at point guard on DK, and then I think Tyrese Halliburton's a little bit interesting as well in tournaments. Like if you're building around that late game. Not someone you want to play in cash at his price. I guess Bledsoe's shooting guard as well on DraftKings, so maybe you could consider him as long as he's in. Before we move to small forward, we need to mention that I don't know. I guess I didn't really think about this like when we were talking about the net stuff right at first, but they've somehow managed to collect Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden on the same team.
Yeah. It's like the Thunder, except for the upgrade of Kyrie over Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, it's just gonna be crazy. I mean, if Kyrie comes back, I guess I don't know. I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, if he decides to play.
Yeah. Small forward, another really gross position today. Like I think you're spending up on. I mean, Kawhi is fine, but I'm just not playing him ever in cash games as long as George is healthy. I think LeBron and Ingram both are really good plays tonight. So Ingram is a stone. Like Ingram was a lock for me anyways. But then when we got the news that Zion was out, I think you have anyone that wasn't playing Ingram, like you really need to consider playing him now. I think he's going to have the ball in his hands even more than usual tonight with Lonzo out. He can kind of run point guard a little bit. He already had, I think, around 10 potential assists per game. So he already was really good as a facilitator anyways. And he's just going to have the ball a lot. Tough individual matchup, but they're just really going to have to rely on him, I feel like, tonight with no Zion. So I like him. LeBron would be someone, if AD gets ruled out after lock, you have to swap to LeBron, I feel like. So that's one thing that you need to keep in mind to leave yourself some room to do. And we don't have LeVert anymore, who I liked. So who do you like outside of those two at small forward? I know we have like Josh Hart there with these Pelicans out. Kuzma, I guess, would become interesting if AD sat as well, but I'm very upset at him for how he played last week.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't love that much. I think you could take a shot on like JJ Redick. He's small forward eligible at 3,300. He should get some minutes. Brandon Ingram, obviously, makes a ton of sense. LeBron, like you said, I think the other guy that you can pay up for, but strictly tournaments, and even so, I highly doubt that I personally would do it. Gordon Hayward at 7,800. He just, comes with a ton of upside and gets Dallas. Outside of that, I mean, Josh Hart is probably the guy if you go down. I think Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot makes sense depending on what they do. I don't want to say that I know exactly who's going to start for them, what Steve Nash is going to make his rotation look like. So we're kind of just waiting on that for the Brooklyn guys. But I think that if you're going down all the way, JJ Redick is probably the top option for really cheap, but it's going to be really hard to move off of Brandon Ingram, in my opinion.
Yeah, if TLC starts, I'm all in on that for sure. Just would need the news that he's starting, but I'm pretty sure that's one of the earlier games, right? 7:30, so maybe we'll get that news. Yeah, I mean that really does it. Other than like TLC, if he starts, I'd be interested in, but it's just gross. Hart, I think, is going to be really high owned now with Zion out, so we'll see what goes on there. Power
Quickly
forward.
Before we move to power forward, someone asked, "What do we make of the New Orleans minutes?" For me, I feel like we are just kind of waiting on Bledsoe because depending on what happens with him, it's more or less going to make or break it. But for me, it seems like Brandon Ingram's going to be locked into the big minutes. Obviously, Steven Adams is going to get his minutes. Josh Hart's are going to be up probably right around 30, I would assume. And then I would guess that JJ Redick, for the other more or less forward, is going to see minutes in the high 20s. And then, Alexander Walker off the bench. And depending more or less on what happens with Bledsoe, we kind of have to just wait and see there. I don't know if you feel like anyone else is going to be kind of playing bigger minutes or anything.
No, that's pretty much it. Like if Kyra Lewis starts, I don't know. Like I feel like if he was playing bad, they would just yank him, right? But if Bledsoe's out, then you would feel, yeah, you would.
He's going to get at least
safer.
the 25. You would think.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. We're just waiting on Bledsoe, but another guy. We're not going to have that news at. I would highly doubt we have that news at lock. So you're just going to have to set an alarm for later on in the night and just check. If you forget what's going on there.
Someone.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry. One other person asked why not Jeremy Grant over Gordon Hayward. They said Grant has the safer floor. Yeah, it feels like Grant has a safer floor for sure. One, I don't like the matchup, so it's not really a Jeremy Grant night for me. I get where you're going, but if I'm not using Ingram or LeBron James, truthfully, I'm just looking for ceiling, which to me in the matchup is Gordon Hayward over Jeremy Grant. I don't know if you like Grant more than I do tonight, though.
No, I love Jeremy Grant. I don't like that price point, man. 7,900 on DraftKings has taken all the value away from him. He is going to play his minutes. Obviously, he'll be defending Giannis. But there's just no value there. Like Ingram is 600 more than Jeremy Grant. Like you would never play him over Ingram. Yeah. You would just find the extra.
I think the same thing. Frosty said Thunderstack for all the money.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Diallo. There's a chance we get some news that George Hill doesn't play, which would bump some other guys up. Like we already know Horford's not playing. George Hill already sounded mad to the media, and it's a back-to-back, so he definitely could sit. We just got that news. So Nets available for Wednesday. Durant, Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, Shamet, DeAndre, Jeff Green, Chioza, TLC, Reggie Perry. So yeah, there's gonna be some value there. We'll just have to wait and see what that lineup looks like, man. It's gonna be fun later on.
It's going to be ugly.
Yeah. Power forward, couple really good plays at the top of power forward. Obviously, you can use Ingram there on DK. But Durant was already a lock for me, even on a back-to-back. He said he was playing yesterday. He was already a lock for me with Kyrie out. Now we're going to have no LeVert in addition to no Kyrie. So you're playing Kevin Durant in cash games. There's no reason. Probably playing him in tournaments as well. Really just no reason not to. Giannis is going to be ignored on this slate, I think, which is hilarious to me because we have this abundance of value and just no one is going to play him. So you can certainly just build a chalky lineup and just play Giannis as a one-off kind of lower-owned guy in a single entry or something if you want to get a little bit different. I don't have any problems with that, but he's just not going to project well for cash games versus Detroit just because you don't know if the game's going to be close.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think obviously Isaiah Roby at 3,100 is power forward eligible. Just an elite play at 3,900. You probably don't need to go here anymore, but James Johnson is a really, really good play if you want to go there. The ultimate pivot tonight, realistically, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to bring myself to do it, but Julius Randle is 300 cheaper than Kevin Durant. Literally no one is playing Julius Randle, and you saw his upside, and it's not like Brooklyn's a bad matchup for him or anything. So I think Julius Randle's a really, really good pivot. I just am not sold that I'm going to be able to move off Durant myself.
Yeah, and if we're playing a bunch of Nets guys now, it would make sense maybe to get a Nick for, some correlation. So I don't mind that in tournaments, but you obviously you would be picking Durant over him most of the time. Do you have anyone Johnson? I think is still a good play. I just don't know if he's going to get ownership now. We'll have to wait and see what's going on. But yeah, Roby, Roby, you can play at center too. Roby is a lock for me, regardless. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the value is so very clear that there's not really anyone else that sticks out that much to me personally. Yeah. But
Jeff Green's 3,600, so he'll pop in some projections for sure.
Stop doing that. I already told you earlier this year, don't do it. And
he can have big games. He had a 28 DK point game. Not that that's big, but I mean at 3,600, that's solid.
Yeah, but there's so much value that like Jeff Green is the guy that you want to bank on.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. I don't necessarily want to play him, but we'll see. All right, let's finish up at center here. Giannis obviously is center eligible on DK. Karl Anthony Towns, it looks like he's going to play. I don't think he's going to garner much ownership. Randall is center eligible as well. And then there's like kind of a big gap. Like Allen's not going to play. Like you have Joe Val, who I think is interesting for tournaments at 6,900, but just not someone you would play in cash. Roby, I think, is the clear play here because he has center on DK. He's 3,100, so you're probably plugging him in. DeAndre will probably get some attention after we get off here. You know, he's 3,400. Oh my lord, yeah.
He's close to a must in my opinion.
Yeah, so you're probably playing DeAndre and Roby together, would be my guess. But the good thing is Roby has power forward too, so you can on DraftKings you could still play 3 centers technically.
Yeah, I wish that Durant still had small forward. Honestly,
I know
that would be
really
that would be
nice.
the perfect thing.
Nurkic, I think if Nurkic is in, I think he is a decent play. If Nurkic is out, you really want Cantor. So I guess if you're playing on DraftKings, I think like James and I talk about this all the time. It's important to know what you're going to do, kind of if something happens, right? So that you don't have to try and figure it out. So I think one way to plan around this is to try and use Roby if possible at forward. So try and use Roby and Durant at your forwards, and then you could use DeAndre at center, and that leaves you utility or center to try and get to Cantor if Nurkic is ruled out.
Yeah,
so probably
I
want
agree
utility open, I guess, for the later games.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think a couple other guys that are fine for tournament throws. Brandon Clark, I like him in this matchup, and he's only 5,800. And then it's so tough saying it, but Willie Cauley-Stein's only 4,100, and if he's getting like the 25 minutes, he has more than enough upside to easily outproduce that price tag. It's just there's so much value that you don't really need to go down to him. And do you really want to live and die by Willie Cauley-Stein tonight? You know what I mean?
Yeah, same price point. Jared Vanderbilt's interesting, I think. They've kind of been talking him up more and more to the media. You can't really trust the minutes. But for tournaments, like if you're just looking for a pivot, especially on this slate, like if you're running a bunch of teams, no one will play Jared Vanderbilt with all this value. And he's just like, if he does on the off chance get like mid 20s in minutes, like he's just going to destroy 4,100.
Yeah. My big issue with him is that obviously Karl Anthony Towns is playing tonight. And if you look the last time Towns played, that's when his minutes dropped to like basically 10. So I have a tough time believing that when Towns is in, he's going to get the minutes. But man, Vanderbilt, I wish they would just give 30 minutes and let's see what he does.
Dude. Like he's so much better than some of these other guys that they play. I would rather them. Yeah. The problem is he's kind of small, He doesn't have a position really. That's the only problem with him. That's really why he doesn't get the minutes. But he's really good, man. If you just watch the game, like you would be a fan of his for sure.
Yeah, I liked him in college, and then he got hurt when he came out. That's why he was going to be like a top 15 pick probably, and he got hurt, which he went in the second round then. Yeah. And I was like, steal for I think Denver took him, and then they just kind of got rid of him for nothing.
All right, well, what do you do if Nurk is in? What are you doing with him? Do you like him? I do think he's a good play.
I think he's fine. I don't think that I'm willing to trust it at a position where you only have 2 spots, obviously center and then utility. Like if someone's like either guard eligible, you can play them in 4 different slots, so it's much easier to get them in. But I just don't think that I'm going to trust him and waste one of the center spots, especially because you probably have to play him in utility, because I'm assuming just basically everyone plays DeAndre anyway.
You have to play him in utility if you're playing him, because I think it's 50-50 that he plays.
Yeah.
For sure.
So.
But I mean, if he doesn't, you can just easily just swap to Cantor. So I guess it doesn't matter. But you would probably want him. I don't know. This slate's crazy. I mean, that about does it position wise. DFScommoner.com/shop. if you want to pick up a membership, get in our Discord. Tonight is the night to be in Discord, man. There's going to be a lot of
Yep.
updates, I feel like, coming. It's going to get weird tonight, I think. So I would just say if you're thinking about giving us a try, today would be a good day. We've been really good. I mean, I've won cash games. I've been really good for the majority of the season, but 2-0 to start this week. I won Monday and Tuesday. I know you've been doing really well.
Yeah, I went
obviously.
on a streak of cashing in tournaments in like I think it was 6 out of 7 days or something. It was a
Which
pretty
is really
crazy
hard to do
streak.
for sure.
But yeah, it's been a great season so far. I'd definitely say that.
Yep. And I know this is an NBA show, but it is important to mention NFL is still going on. You can get a week-long NFL membership. I cashed every slate I played last weekend for NFL, and I'm playing a bunch of slates this week. I posted in Discord. I'm doing the 4-game slate on DraftKings and 3 showdown slates. I'm doing both 2-game slates on FanDuel and 3 showdown slates there as well. So like ton of core plays this weekend for me for NFL.
I'll say Ben's super humble. He's a very humble guy. This dude is elite at these weird small slates. Like if there's one slate where I'm like, oh, I'm definitely listening to Ben, it's like the Thanksgiving 3-game slate. And then we were really successful last week. And now this is basically like more or less the last real week because you have 4 games that you can play.
Yeah. I'm so happy they made that the main slate, the 4 games, dude. So good.
Yep, I agree. I'll also add, we're about to go make some hockey lineups with Frank.
Yeah, dude, hockey.
We do have
Let's
a hockey
go.
package. It's starting tonight.
Let's go.
They also staggered the games, which is really nice. So
yeah, I'll probably put
get in on the hockey
too.
if you're a hockey fan. We have a package for that. I mean, we have pretty much everything you need here.
Yeah, I'm gonna play some hockey tonight. I'm gonna get in the hockey Discord, I think. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'm not on the stream tomorrow. I'll be back Friday. I'm sure there's a big slate on Friday, would be my guess. But thank you guys for watching, and good luck tonight.